Hello.
What's up, everyone? Hey! How's it going, everyone?
How did I
Now,
get here?
yeah, I managed to hijack Professor Goat's computer and
Oh,
teleport him into a chair, and he's here for the
I was in the
podcast.
midst of some very important research, I'll have you know. This
Oh,
better be important.
well, hopefully it's nothing that would have saved the world or anything, or advanced space travel or advanced Lego building techniques. Hopefully it was nothing like that, because then I wouldn't be able to
Hmm.
live with that. That'd be a long regret. That'd be the only regret I'd ever have. But
I'm sure.
yeah, so today we are here with the one, the only Professor Goat. He is from Club Brick. Out of interest, man, how did you meet Club Brick and John and everyone?
Actually, John and I actually bonded over a discussion of one of my research projects, the
Oh,
Nexus
cool.
Temple, which you may have seen featured on the Brothers Brick YouTube channel. But I was looking at different Discord channels where I could get some feedback on research projects I was working on. As it happened, King John reached out to me, and as soon as he discovered my Lego insight and talent, he quickly recruited me to join Club Rick.
Oh, that's good. Was you a bit? Did you do any YouTube stuff before that or anything along those lines?
Actually, when I would say it must be before I was a teenager, I actually did a few stop motion videos. I don't believe any of them are currently public out there, but
Okay.
I think there are archives of them somewhere. I have also uploaded some videos related to Lego Universe sometime back when that uh, video game was active
That was a
until
back in
about
the day
2012.
game. That was a
Yes,
back in the
so
day game.
I did a few videos of different properties, of weird bugs and glitches I found, and a few things like that. Nothing major. But past that, I haven't really been too active until I joined Club Rick.
Fair enough. You said about Lego Universe glitches and bugs and properties. What software did you use back in the day? Was OBS around, or was it Fraps, or did you use something else? Or
That was the Fraps era. I recall spending $30 to $35 to get a Fraps to do screen capture.
was it good for the day?
I suppose so. That was still at the end of what you may consider the wild era before this technology is proliferated. Nowadays,
Yeah,
you can just easily get any screen cap and it'll be high quality. You don't even have to think about it. But back then, that was a pretty big deal to be able to get a
definitely.
screen capture, or at least a big deal to me or the community I was around.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, if it was like 2011, 2012, you would have been like 15. So at 15 years old to have screen capturing software back then, you'd be a bit like, damn. You'd feel a little bit ahead of the game. Not massively, but a bit, you know.
Perhaps.
But yeah, so have you enjoyed doing like the big analyses for Club Brick? Because I honestly, I'm not just saying this. I'm being deadly serious. I think there's some of the best Lego analyses on YouTube. Personally, that I
I,
really enjoy them. I enjoy it more than the economics of Lego was a great video that this YouTuber did. This really big YouTuber, but I prefer yours to by a landslide, just because it goes like deep to what is Lego, the storytelling of Lego, and the depth of Lego space, stuff like that, the how it Legos like Minecraft, those sort of videos. I just love that sort of thing.
I really appreciate that. I think I know the video you're talking about. But yes, I try to focus on things that maybe other channels won't necessarily do. If I'm just regurgitating what someone else says, I'm not necessarily adding my own voice to something. So
Yeah,
maybe if there's a discussion about something, there may be an element of it that people are not discussing, as you said, like the ethos behind the Lego brick, the concept of their system, all the different themes, why Lego does things the way they does, and I do very much enjoy the research process that's involved, although it is quite time consuming. I will admit.
Yeah, I can imagine, because the thing is with a lot of Lego YouTubers as well, I know you said you don't want to be regurgitating what other people say, but usually the way a lot of people find ideas, they like might read something on the internet and try and add their own spin. But a lot of the stuff you're like with Lego YouTubers, it's sort of like most of the time they're just talking about sets or news or things like that, really, because they know that's what gets the quick views to come in. They don't usually do massive, humongous analyses. So I feel like that's something that's definitely really difficult to get research on. So
I definitely I'm working on a few larger projects right now that aren't related to essays. So right now I'm just enjoying working on smaller, more condensed questions and answers in the Ask the Professor series. That way I can get a much faster turnover and get some more interaction going with like the Club Brick community. I think that's a good place to focus while I'm working on other projects. Again, I'm trying to focus. I try to focus on the audience's time, on respecting their time, while still giving them an enjoyable, hopefully bingeable experience as I go.
definitely. I mean, with the Ask the Professor series, at first I was like, oh man, I'm so hyped. I'm so lit for this. This is going to be sick, goat spicy takes. And then I saw, oh man, it's only like 3 minutes long. I thought it would be like M&Rs. But then after weeks of it being out, I thought this is probably the better way to do it, because it's like 1 or 2 or 3 questions covered per video, and it stretches it out very far. So
Yes, like I
especially
spent.
the latest one, that was top banter, to be fair. The largest piece.
I'm glad you enjoyed that video. It took a much longer to order the part and get all the tools I needed to do that episode. So I'm glad you did enjoy that one. I must say, will you repeat the question one more time?
It wasn't a question. I was just responding to something you said about about the Club Brick videos and what have you. Like, I do enjoy how it was split up one at a time, instead of like the M&R ones where he goes on for like 18 or 20 minutes, and it works for him because he's in like the Lego Star Wars space and whatever. But I feel like it being split up one at a time is better in my opinion. So
I think that part of it comes down to the fact that I'm conducting research and investigations 10 plus, sometimes 12 plus hours a day. I only have a certain number of hours of free time a week, and I could either do a video once every few months, or I could do a video once a week or once every other week, and that'll bring in a little bit more engagement. And if there's a topic I really want to focus on, I will make sure that gets covered. But again, it's about the time investment that comes down to, and I feel very much that giving those smaller bite-sized chunks is something the audience will appreciate.
definitely, yeah. As I say, over the weeks it's been out, it's really grown on me, right? Because I feel like, man, yes, it's this thing that's being covered, or this thing that I don't know. While with M&R, it's sort of like a very clickable title, and it does get people interested, but it's like loads of things just crashed into one, which is all right.
You know what you're getting into, and that's a good format, especially for like someone who's looking into the new sets, wants to know what they're all about. That's a perfectly strong format, and I definitely look at those videos when I'm trying to find information about a specific set. It's a very good format for that particular area.
Yeah, man. I mean, M&R really is one of the best. I really love just hearing his takes, to be honest. He's a Lego Star Wars specialist. I remember I put one of his things into a Discord. I'm not going to say which Discord it was, but a mod deleted it. And I was like, bloody hell, like, what's your problem with M&R? But he was like, I don't want M&R's drama in here, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, all right then. Bit crazy how the Lego community can be really touchy about like one YouTuber. You know, like if someone put in my Discord someone I didn't like, unless they were a really evil person who'd done evil things, I wouldn't really care. You know,
Right.
I wouldn't.
I have no interest in the drama or anything surrounding that, but yeah, I have no idea what sort of drama you're talking about, and frankly, I don't have time for it.
Yeah, that's fair. He was just talking about the land drama, to be fair. And I just put one of those videos in a Lego section. I was like, it's just interesting hearing like what it's like for someone to be part of the Lego Ambassador Network. That's why I did it. That's why I put it in a certain server. It wasn't Club Brick, by the way. It wasn't that server.
I forgot he was. I forgot he was in the Ambassador Network.
Yeah, but so the first question that I was one question I was going to ask, and George has already said it. What is your favorite Lego set? Oh, hello. Professor.
Well, that happened.
What happened?
I have no explanation.
This is something cosmic right here. We're witnessing history.
This must be. Look, I was looking at cloning at one point. This is not related to that. Okay, just ignore that up there. Okay.
Yeah.
As you were saying.
Oh, favorite Lego set, George. George took the words right out of my mouth minutes and minutes ago.
Let me see. There's a lot of sets I like, and I actually renewed my interest in this set very recently. Someone asked me what the worst Bionicle set was. It's crazy, but many people think that the worst Bionicle set is called the 2006 Good Guy, when he's actually the best Bionicle set of all time. I don't know why people don't give that set the respect it deserves. I don't understand why you're laughing.
No, sorry. He just looks a bit like an angry little man, you know. There's nothing wrong with being an angry little man. I'm just
he's a very he is one of the most important sets in
hold on.
That's his cousin, okay? He's not his
cousin. Okay, sorry. I thought, is he the bloke with the gold mask that costs like £10,000?
He does, yes, that's part of his character arc. He eventually acquires that, and that's how he achieves his final form.
Mm-hmm. So, are you being deadly serious about the best set thing? This isn't just a prank or anything?
There's a lot of reasons I do like this set. It's a very simple, and people have a lot of fun with this set for very obvious reasons. However, let's see. I recently actually was able to go out of my way and purchase the Apollo 13 set, like it's the meter tall Lego rocket, and that is one of my favorite sets of all time. I also really like the Nintendo NES is really impressive. Just any random space set I rank very highly. And the original Galimata has a very special place in my heart as well. What else? I'm immensely fond of the first Ninjago city landscape they did. I don't recall what they may have just called the set Ninjago City. But that was a fantastic set as well. There's so many sets I have so much respect for. Obviously, the Galaxy Explorer is a revolutionary set for its time, and I'm very happy to own that one as well.
That's fair. So, what would you say the most expensive set you have is, and are you ever tempted to sell it, or is it just too sentimental or important for parts, for building wise, or?
So are you talking about its value now or its value back then?
Value now, sorry, yeah, value now. Yeah.
Let's see. The Ninjago City Docks is the Ninjago City set that I do own, and I actually just took it for parts. It was a very fun and impressive set to build, but as more of a builder and a researcher myself, keeping it together just doesn't make sense for me. So most of my sets are just disintegrated. So
That's fair.
A lot of it comes down to more like characters for me. The few sets that I have preserved probably tell you a good bit about me. But I do have I have the original Yellow Castle from
Hmm.
the late 70s, the original Galaxy Explorer, and one of the very first Lego Town sets. Back when minifigures were brand new, I do have one set to represent each of those eras. And that does it pretty well for me. I also have the Apollo 13 and a few other space related sets still together. A lot of my characters do have a very short shelf life. I
Fair.
have a huge wall of just Ninjago minifigures, every variant uh, from the canon era of the Ninjago series, Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu, up to the Ninjago movie. So
Yeah.
I cut it off there because the continuity and the style changes rapidly after that point.
Hmm.
I also have most of my Bionicle characters still intact. So I have the Toa Mata, the Toa Nuva, the Toa Metru, of course. And those are the main. I also have the Masters, which would be the reboot from 2015, as well as most of the parts for a bunch of other characters. I have parts from hundreds of Bionicle sets.
That's pretty cool. So Gampat's put nice with the thumb up. George has put I love him and I want the midget. Um, did you? Oh, you meant to say dwarf, George. You meant, to, but did you get rid of TGN set from today's video?
The box is still up there as a haunting reminder of how I wasted my money,
Oh,
but
oh, oh, oh.
hopefully the actual set will be on the landfill very soon.
That's good then. That's really good to hear. You know, I love the ISS man. I absolutely love that on
Yeah,
your shelf.
I
That is
actually
like
got
honestly.
I got that just the other day, and I am really happy with how it's come together. It's not nearly as good as the Apollo 11 lunar lander or the Apollo 13, but it's a very nice set on its own and a very nice display piece.
Yeah. Do you think you'd ever review any of these space sets? Is there a big passion and you could give spicy takes, or are you not too fussed about that?
Nothing that hasn't already been said, I don't feel like. And again, if I grew up with a set, I might have a slightly different perspective on it.
Mhm.
But again, as it comes down to, it's a very well constructed, very accurate to its detail, and that's it's a very inspiring set. I'll say that. There's not much more I can analyze that hasn't been said 100 times over.
That's fair. It's good to be trying to get new takes out there instead of saying what everyone else says. Because like, I guess it's sort of like if someone's made the best meal ever, they put all the best stuff in there that they can put in, and you know there's nothing else you can add to the pot, I suppose. So
I suppose one way to look at it as a lot of the sets that I find, I find that like the International Space Station is like a sculpture. It's
mhm.
something that you look at as an art piece and respect for what it is. But things like Ninjago sets or Bionicle characters or the old classic Space Galaxy Explorer, those are play sets. And those
Yeah.
have, I feel like those do a much better job of captivating the imagination. And there's,
Hmm.
in many respects, those have a much more open-ended way. Oh, it's more open-ended to talk about those.
Yeah, that's totally fair. So with Mock Hour and Sort and Stream, do you think you'll ever be back on them more regularly, or will it be too difficult? Do you
Um,
reckon? Or
right now, again, I'm working. Uh, all my investigation and research takes me out 10 to 12 hours a day, and that doesn't leave much long between all my other responsibilities. It's possible we'll see some more streams every once in a while, especially seasonal streams, such as the Goat Awards, despite what His Majesty will tell you. Um, but again, it comes down to the fact that in many ways, the Ask the Professor series is the successor to the Sort and Stream,
yeah,
because many times when I'm just I get home from my research, I just want to relax and not be on the camera for a while, and just watch something, not have any interaction, just get my head down and sort for a bit. And that can be very therapeutic. As much as I enjoy talking to people, it's good to have that sense of peace and quiet. And streaming once a week, taking up like sometimes up to 1/5 of your entire 1/5 to more of your free time for a week, that can have a pretty significant mental toll.
Mm-hmm. So another thing that I was going to ask was, I know obviously you preferred the original themes because of the creativity side of it, and you sort of make up. So like in one of the videos that I watched, you were saying, I think it was the Death of the Lego Space, when you were saying about how it's sort of like there's knights invading a castle or protecting a castle, there's pirates sailing, there's spacemen or astronauts going to space, you know. So it's sort of like, so I do really, as much as I do prefer the licensed themes, because I like things being put in front of me, and like the franchises that I like just flopped in front of me. The original stories are a crap ton of fun because you made that up for yourself. So what I was going to ask, is there anything that they could do with licensed themes to make it appeal more to you? Just any licensed theme, Harry Potter, Indiana Jones, if they bring that back, Star Wars, Marvel, anything?
I do recall some of the specials, the Star Wars specials in the early 2010s. Some of those were pretty fun. Like they'll take some creative liberties and put their own little fun twist on it. I haven't really kept up with it lately because I'm not a huge fan with the direction that Disney has taken the franchise. But again, I enjoy like the Freemaker stuff. We see things that are done in the style of the Star Wars style, but it's these original ships, and you get to see, okay, this looks great alongside these original Star Wars sets, but it's still something new, and it gives you this fresh perspective on the universe, and it borders the line on what's canon and what's not. But these are just fun sets that are very unique and well designed. I wish we saw more stuff like this, more like Elseworld stuff for Star Wars, Harry Potter, Marvel especially.
So like, I was gonna say as well, because you said about the direction Disney are taking them, I'm assuming you're referring to that they just spam out a lot of original trilogy sets a bit too often, really, and they might ask the fans, well, Lego might ask the fans something. I know this isn't Disney's doing, but Lego might ask the fans something like, "Oh, what do you want in this set?" And then the overwhelming amount say, "We want this thing." Then they say, "Oh, well, it doesn't matter now. It's fine. You didn't say what we wanted to hear," you know. So
I do feel I do understand why. Like it's Lego's license. They paid an obscene amount of money for that, and I understand that. So, like, I know a lot of people were upset with what was it, the 5,000 first battle pack, whatever the set was with the Ahsoka. People were really upset because you had to pay $30+ to get a couple clone troopers. I understand why the army builders were upset about that, but I also understand there's Lego still in the business of making as much money as possible. So. As I was referring to just about Disney, it comes down to my investment overall in the franchise. And this comes back to what we've seen in a lot of franchises over the last few years. It comes down to this idea where I do attribute some of it to like what series like Lost and Netflix and even Marvel have done to how we perceive television series. It's this idea of keeping you hooked by putting things that are familiar in front of you, but it may not necessarily have the same meaning it once had. For example, the Mandalorian series has some great set pieces, some pretty good characters, but at the same time, it feels a lot of the episodes were lacking certain elements. There were a lot of plot holes that kept me from fully investing in it, and I look at it and say, this is well made and it wants to appeal to me. It's missing something. It's missing what captured the essence of the original and what made it. It's made with a lot of love, but it's not quite capturing the essence, if that makes sense.
That's fair enough. I mean, personally, I really loved Mandalorian series 1 and 2. I mean, 2 did rely a bit more on fan service, but I do get where you're coming from a bit. Did you rate The Bad Batch at all, or are you not too fussed about that?
Let's see, the Bad Batch series.
Yeah.
Again, it feels like this isn't being made like the original Star Wars. It wasn't necessarily made because it had this fantastic idea. It was made because, okay, people love this character. Let's give them a series. And the series doesn't come first. The idea for the series doesn't come first. The idea comes from Disney looking at it and saying, okay, people like this. Let's give them more what they want. And the writers will go like, okay. So they'll just tape and glue whatever they think the audience will want. And the inspiration that brought those characters into existence may not be there. I quite like the Bad Batch as they were represented in the original, in the
Series 7.
the Clone Wars. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought they were very well introduced there, and they were great secondary characters. I don't know if it just comes down to the fact that it wasn't the best scripts with the Bad Batch series, or whether maybe these characters aren't meant to be up front in the center. I think they may just work better as secondary characters. But there's many ways you can interpret that. I just have become very cynical about that lately. And if you enjoy that, that's absolutely fantastic. There's great production value. It just feels very manipulative to me.
Fair enough. I was going to say that is a very, very spicy take. No one's mentioned about how their secondary characters, how they're better as secondary characters. That is a really good take. I mean, personally, I absolutely subjectively love the Bad Batch, but objectively there is problems with it because like you've got the characters, apart from Crosshair, who is really conflicted about joining this empire, you know, and forgetting about his friends, and you find out about his inhibitor chip being destroyed a long time, well, episodes and episodes ago. He's conflicted, which makes him interesting. The rest of the characters just stay the same. Hunter stays as the leader.
They feel like felt like blanks. No. You're fine. I do agree. They kind of felt like blank slates and one-note characters. It reminded me actually of the Penguins of Madagascar. They each have this one-note personality, but it works great because like you have this very well-developed character like Anakin, who's in the forefront, and you have these really fun secondary characters. We don't know a lot about them, but they're fun and they have these very dynamic interactions. Yeah. But when you focus on them, they didn't do enough to expand upon that. I don't feel like.
I feel like the issue with it is that they spent a lot of time farting about doing jobs for Sid. When like the first episode was sick, like it was absolutely class. And the episode where they're on the ship with Rex, that was really cool. I was a little bit annoyed that Echo wasn't talking to Rex more because I'm thinking, Echo's had so much history with Rex. Why is he just standing around staring at him? Apart from like, and Echo himself, he's just like the nice guy. And it's like, okay. I mean, all he really did, I'm just talking from an objective sense. Subjectively, I think he's great. But objectively, like all he really does is give an amazing speech about how you don't leave people behind in that prison episode. And that was it really. He didn't really have... He just came across as like the nice guy. I still think it's objectively good, but subjectively, I just love it because I don't know. I'm just a sucker for shit straight after Order 66 because we don't really get things like that. So.
Yeah, it's high production value and it's missing a few elements. But again, that's up to you.
I'm glad there's a series 2 coming about. Though I'm really glad about that. I really hope they can just do better with it. And I mean, the fan service in it is good, but I really hope that in the future, just all Star Wars shows don't rely on fan service too much. If you watch Visions, that is something that isn't relying on fan service at all, from what I've seen.
I have seen a few episodes of that. Some of those episodes are absolutely gorgeous. One of them in particular reminded me of the Madanui online game just for its very ambient art style. And that's the kind of stuff I would like because there's clearly creative liberties taken with the story and stuff. I'd much rather have that than a well produced, but not quite. Um, but leaving you with this incomplete feeling. With the Visions stuff, you can at least say this is entirely someone's artistic vision.
Yeah. Original characters, original stories, and I think something really beautiful about Star Wars is that you can have like a futuristic place like Coruscant, but you can also have like, gritty places or like not medieval, but like medieval type places like Naboo, or really, really gritty, bleak places like Mogito.
Yeah, there's a lot of variety you can do with this universe, and it's it's a really fun universe to play around in.
Definitely, man. So I was gonna say though, with Pirates of the Caribbean, did you collect many of those sets? Because they seem like very similar, well, really similar to Pirates, except obviously it's not original stories. It's sort of based on Pirates of the Caribbean. Well, it's based on Pirates of the Caribbean, so.
I feel like I wasn't a huge fan of. I didn't really appreciate Pirates of the Caribbean because I didn't watch the first movie first.
Never
No,
mind.
I actually watched the fourth one first.
Bro.
So that wasn't the best introduction. Then I watched the first one, and I genuinely believe that is one of the best adventure movies of all time. Because just how they introduced this character of Jack Sparrow is absolutely perfect.
Mm-hmm.
He's just Johnny Depp is comedy gold in that role. And all the character dynamics work really well in there. It's an intensely fun film all the way through, and I feel like the second and third ones have a few problems. They feel like they drag sometimes. It was one of the first movies that did the two-parter thing, which sometimes I understand. It felt like the story was dragging a bit for me, and it didn't have the same magic as the first movie. So when the sets were rolling around, I didn't have that investment in it. I do have a Jack Sparrow, and I really love that character, but it just comes down to the fact that because I didn't watch the first movie first, and there's the other the fourth movie especially weighing it down, I don't have the same connection to the franchise many people do.
Yeah, I mean, I can't blame you, to be honest, because the second and third one, I mean, it focuses heavily on Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley's characters, Elizabeth and Will. And I'm not being funny, but they're a little bit...
They were great characters in the first movie. They have a very coherent arc, but that's not why you're there.
They're a little... Well, they're pretty dead arse in 2 and 3. And I was going to say, compared to Barbossa and Jack Sparrow, they're just not that much fun compared to those two. It's everything going on which makes their story culminate really well. George is saying, hold on. What classic set would you want to return? Check chat. Now, JK. Smile and wave, boys. Vision's better than What If. Vision's episode 4. I hope Johnny gets back. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Which question should I address first? The classic set?
Just address... No, this one, yeah. Classic set, yeah.
I really don't necessarily want to see like a one-to-one recreation of old sets. I want to see. I like when Lego creates a fusion, like they did with the Freemaker Adventures. They take something they did existing, like the Star Wars universe, and then they spit out the Freemaker Adventures. Say what you want about like the series itself. The sets were really fun and really unusual. Like the battle droid itself, they just called Roger, which is absolutely painful, but I really respect that they went with that. And I'd like to see this this fusion of existing with new. That's what Lego is all about, the synthesis of what you have now and what you can do. It's just imagine. That's what Lego's motto was through the 90s and early 2000s. So I would love to see someone takes concept of we're getting a bunch of good pirate stuff, so I think we're good there. I think some of the 90s themes need some love. We've gotten a few good classic space tributes in the last few years. I'd always appreciate more, But I'd love to see things like Imtron, Explorians, the what is it? The Inquisition era of the Lego Pirate sets. All these different things I would love to see. More tributes to the more obscure stuff, giving it a new spin. We've seen that some in like with the Ninjago Island theme. We kind of has the same energy as the original Islanders, which was a spin-off of Lego Pirates. So it's funny to have that, again, contrast between Ninjago and Pirates.
Yeah, that makes sense. Space Pirates, ? George puts.
That would be fun. We got there's a few space pirates within Star Wars. There were the Sky Pirates within Ninjago, but I'm always down for some variety of really weird pirate design. Those can always be really fun.
Yeah, 100%, man. Out of interest, would you ever start a Lego podcast of your own and get like maybe just yourself talking about recent Lego news or things over Lego history? Because as I've said before, spicy AF takes. So,
I don't mind coming on other people's podcasts from time to time. I don't think I'd be able to do it. I don't think I could give you the consistent spicy takes and continue working on my other projects, if that makes sense.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah. Would you ever do say if like the whole Club Brick worked out like massively, and you could just say if you was like getting paid X amount of money to do whatever, do you think you'd try and do it there, or would you still rather work on like the big projects you have planned and try and continue on them, as some of them are like years and years?
That would definitely change things. I don't view Club Brick as a revenue source. I just view it as an opportunity to engage in the Lego community. And if by some bizarre happenstance that Club Brick becomes profitable, I may be able to cut back on some of my research, and I can focus more on the channel. But as it is, I'm very comfortable just leaving things where it is. And if people enjoy what I do and want to support me, we'll just go from there. I have a lot of different Lego projects I'm working on that I'd love to share.
Good stuff. Billy has put, what about the old Batman and Robin? So I think he's referring to like either the 60s sets or like the 2006 sets or something.
I do remember when those were first coming out. At the time, Batman, I'd seen some of the Batman movies at the time. Like I don't remember. Definitely the one with Adam West. I think I saw. Was it a 70s Batman movie, or what? That was probably 80s.
But there was the weird Adam West one with the shark that was climbing up the ship.
Yes.
Then there was Batman 81.
And weren't like several world leaders turned into like Jello or something? Like
I don't know. It'd be. I'd imagine something bizarre like that might happen. Sadly, that's one of the few Batman films that I haven't seen. So
that'd be a fun one to go back to watch because it has some bizarre energy. But as for the 2006 sets, I remember when those came out, and I thought those were interesting. I was just way more interested in the Mars mission, Castle, and I don't think the Pirates was out in that year. Exoforce was really big that year, I think, and I was pretty invested in that as well.
Yeah, fair dues. I didn't know what Exoforce was until I joined the Club Discord. I was like, this bloke called Exo. Why is he called Exo? And then I thought Exoforce. I actually have some of them. Those because they got the massive eyes. They look like anime characters. So a 60s Batmobile and Tumbler came out, and the cows.
It feels like an incomplete sentence there, but the redesign of the Tumbler looks really good. It's fun reading over the comments of the designer, and yeah, they're fantastic sets. The Nolan trilogy of Batman, has a lot of good stuff in it. The Tumblr design is really up there. Um, but yeah, it's not quite what I'm as interested in. I think they're great films, especially the first and the second one, but it's doesn't have the same connection as things like a Star Wars has had, because let's just say that back when Lego Star Wars was still brand new, my dad purchased Star Wars for me.
Mm-hmm.
He bought it for himself so he could pretend to be a
Oh,
kid.
oh, fair play to the lad. Do you remember
Mhm.
what specific sets he got?
I remember that I had one of the very first TIE fighters.
Oh, cool.
Um,
Was he like the
I,
blue one?
blue trimming on the end. It had the little
Yeah.
grills on it, like the little blue grills on it. I also, probably my favorite one though was Obi-Wan Kenobi Starfighter from 2002. That's probably one of my all-time favorite sets, just for nostalgia purposes.
Yeah, it was pretty peak banter. Do you remember the one from 2005 at Anakin and Obi-Wan's and like that droid ship and those little droid things on their ship? That was pretty sick. You got a lot of stuff in one set there. That was cool for the
Yeah,
day.
I only had Anakin's Starfighter with that one. I wasn't able to get Obi-Wan again.
Mm-hmm.
I am planning to rebuild Obi-Wan Starfighter, maybe in a slightly more customized version. I'm not sure. That set means a lot to me.
Yeah. Do you I feel like you know that Sam Weasel chase? I feel like that's sort of I feel like that's quite a nice set because it's sort of like a futuristic vehicle and it's like
It's
some
it's
you
one
know
of
what
the
I'm
few
saying?
sets that we haven't actually seen a remake of. Like we'll get
Yeah.
a land speeder every other year, but we've only gotten one of those. And
Mm-hmm.
I do have that set, and that's also another one on my list to rebuild. The 2002 sets are some of the best sets of the two, up to 2005. That's kind of its. I feel like that's kind of its own era.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is with those that Sam Weasel set, the thing I really like about it is how a lot of stuff in Star Wars it's all military vehicles, as you said, speeders or spaceships with guns on them. But the Sam Weasel chase, it's a a casual futuristic car. I don't know. There's just something really cool about it for me.
Yeah, it
Just
gives you a
interesting.
totally different perspective of the Star Wars universe of getting these smaller ships, these civilian ships. And we've only really seen those a couple times in the entirety of Lego Star Wars. We've gotten some good architectural Star Wars sets every once in a blue moon, but very few civilian ships like that.
Yeah. I mean, I know this isn't ship related, but the Mos Eisley Cantina UCS in 2020, that was absolutely next level, that set. I know they didn't, there was stuff they could have done with the figures, like had better, not just had the same Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Obi-Wan, Chewbacca, R2 and 3PO, C3PO. But they had new characters in there, like some of the casual people in the Mos Eisley Cantina, but the build itself, that's what you're there for. And there was actually one of those
Absolutely.
futuristic leaders, which
Yeah,
was really nice.
that's a fantastic. It is a fantastic set. Just a little bit too pricey for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was like 350 quid,
300
which
plus, I
is in
think.
dollars. Mental money. And the thing is, as well, as much as it is nice, you got to have the space for that thing, haven't you? So
Exactly. It's not the most easy to display model.
yeah. George has put the Batman cows came out around the same time. What does COWL apostrophe S mean? What's cows? George.
It just means the cape.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
Fair.
or yeah, like the cowl, like it comes with the headpiece and the. I think the cape is attached on many of those.
Okay,
Um, but yeah, I think he's referring to that combo.
that's fair. But yeah, so another question I was going to ask: do you do much Lego investing? So like buying sets
Um,
and selling?
I would certainly say that I would prefer to invest more in Lego than I do right now. It just comes down to the fact that I'm not interested in necessarily making a living off of Lego. That's not what I'm trying to do. I don't want to be someone who's flipping, buying these new sets and selling them. What I enjoy doing is buying a bunch of used sets to. So what I'll do is I'll buy a bunch of used sets or this used lot on Facebook Marketplace or something. I'll sell a bunch of the minifigures that don't have any sentimental value to me. I'll sell that to someone who really wants it, and I'll keep all the little parts for myself. So that'll give me a bit of profit, plus a bunch of parts that I can build really cool stuff with.
That's pretty legendary. So I was going to say as well, I was watching a bit of Lego Masters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was seeing some. It already came out in America. It came out in because I was watching it in 2021. This is when it came to the UK, and I was like, saying to one of my friends, "Have you seen this?" Blah blah blah. And they was like, "Mate, it came out a year ago." And I was like, "What?"
There's actually been different versions. I know I think there's been 2 seasons in Australia now. I think there's been one somewhere in Central Europe as well, as the second season in America. But
yeah,
I haven't.
In Netherlands, wasn't it? The one series.
Yes, that sounds right. I'm not sure if you heard, but I was actually sought out to be in Lego Masters. I was too busy with my research, unfortunately.
That's what I was going to ask. I was going to say, would you ever go on Lego Masters? Because it just seems like something that you've just got to do. Because with the thing that you showed on Beyond the Brick, what is it?
I could. But I have the advantage of being the one person to tell Lego Masters no, and I'm going to keep that.
Oh! See, but if you went on, man, you could win the whole thing. Don't the winners get 100K?
They could. There's a bunch of other things going on with my research and my life that take a slight amount of priority. Like to do Lego Masters, that takes a month plus, and it's a little bit too difficult to stop all my research, uproot myself for an entire month to do something like that. But I have no doubt
you've got to keep, you've got to stick with what's essential, really, haven't you? I guess you can't just go off for like a month and a half. If you can afford to, great. If you can't, then you shouldn't do it. So
yeah, there's a bunch of factors you have to consider and stuff like that. But yep, under the right circumstances, maybe I'm content with where I am.
Who would you bring as a teammate? Would you get John on there? You can show everyone
I could. I could see if I have any lab assistants I could drag along too.
It'd be so funny if you got Exo on and Exo was wearing his mask going, "Don't be sus! Don't be sus! Wum, wum, wum."
Yes, I'm sure that would be absolutely fantastic.
And then he gets kicked out by the security. Sad days.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, to be fair though, probably the most talented builder in the whole gaff, you and Ardent, you guys would be the best team on there. You and Ardent 4, definitely. I know Ardent would have to travel to America and it'd be a bit of hassle, but still, you guys would be an amazing team on there. I think you'd have a chance of winning, to be fair. Because, a lot of these people on Lego Masters, I'm not shitting on them, but some of them don't seem level-headed. They seem to get really stressed under the pressure. But I think
you have to understand that's actually this is one of the reasons I wasn't too interested in it. Is especially the non-American versions, they seem to be focusing a little bit more on the models and stuff. But the American version is a lot more centered around this reality television thing. So there's a whole paradigm that they're trying to replicate. So they're actually inventing comedy and little conflict and these little rivalries. It's mostly fake in there, and they're like the director will try and coach out. Oh, okay, I want you to be really upset when this happens, and they'll try to manipulate the footage and events to give you a very exaggerated picture of what's happening. And I feel like in many ways that detracts from the actual experience of how these people build stuff, because the American audience that these executives are appealing to have a very short attention span and are very they think that the audience has a very short attention span and won't appreciate all the detail that may be put into the actual model.
Yeah, I mean, that is an amazing point there. 'Cause to be honest, though, I thought, I'm not being like stereotyping or anything, but I thought like a lot of Americans wouldn't really notice that reality TV thing. I thought they'd sort of shun it away. Not all of them, obviously, but like, because I remember I said to some of my American friends on Xbox, like, I don't like the way this is done on TV. I prefer things to be subverting my expectations. And they were just like, you don't understand, you don't get it, it's reality TV, man. But like you hit the nail on the head perfectly. How it doesn't really feel authentic, does it, when it's all put on and fake? But I just pay attention to the models at the end of it. I just sort of try and ignore all the reality bamboozle.
And it is fun when you get pieces of their process. And I think it's a great conduit because despite all the reality television elements, you still get these pieces of, there'll be these creators or the judges explaining these little Lego techniques and why it's so cool. And I would have really liked something like that when I was much younger. That would have been a very eye-opening experience. And I do think in many ways, Lego Masters has a lot to offer, especially people who aren't as exposed to the Lego community. But I also think there's a lot of reality television elements that I personally am not interested in. I understand that some people like enjoy that exaggerated reality because I think most people know it's fake. I think most people deep down know it, and they quite enjoy it because it makes it easier to say, "Oh, this guy's a jerk. This guy's an idiot." My life is so smooth compared to these losers. And like looking at this exaggerated, this hyper exaggerated world that reality television creates makes a lot of people feel more comfortable with where they are. So I don't like it, but I do understand why in some respects it's popular. I don't think it should be.
Yeah. That I agree with that. It shouldn't be, man. But I can see the appeal. It's like, I know you probably wouldn't have watched like British telly, but the British reality shows are just, they're like, at least with the American ones, like the way I see American reality telly, I just sort of laugh at it, It's like bloody what's that show? I think it's like mystery diners where they go to someone's diner. Have you seen it? And,
I've not.
Okay, it's basically this show where there's chefs in a restaurant and whatever, and then the one chef is doing something stupid, and then they get fired. And it's like preposterous mental things. And at first, I sort of thought, okay, maybe there's a tiny chance it's realistic. But then, once you think about it, like once someone gets fired, they accept an interview afterwards, and they have their face on there. You have to sign a talent release form for it. If they don't get a signature, they'd be sued. I'm sorry, if you're getting the sack, you don't want your face on the telly, and you will not. If I got a sack from a job, I'd probably just be like, go away and like walk off, and I wouldn't sign.
Yeah, you don't want to be called out for that.
But. So I'd probably, and I'm sure if you got fired from a job, most people, they wouldn't want to be interviewed afterwards. So, and they probably wouldn't sign the talent release form. So a lot of me thinks that is set up, but there's so much that goes into it. You think why would so much go into it for it to be real? But that's just TV. That's what the general public, like you said, they think my life is very smooth compared to this loser, So,
I do think there's a catharsis element to it. Like, I'm not sure if you've ever watched stuff like The Amazing Race, but stuff like that is the worst for like creating these fictional rivalries or exaggerating them, and just trying to show people be as nasty to each other as possible to try and get the audience to side with one group or the other, to create some false expectations, to change what you're actually thinking. And it's not because of that, it kind of takes away from the authenticity.
Definitely. I mean, I was going to say one thing with British reality telly, though. A lot of the rivalries seem realistic, but they're so petty. I feel like, because the way the Americans do it, it's like the director goes in and says, do this, do this, do this. But the way the British do it, the way we do the reality shows, in my opinion, it's probably better for people to watch, but it's worse because it's really realistic, but like there's a load of shit stirring going on. There is a barrel load of shit stirring. So it aggravates me more because you can't laugh at it, but it gets people more interested because the rivalries are actually real. For some of it, I'm sure is put on, but some of it definitely is real. How annoyed they get at each other. So
Yeah,
it's
there's always an element of reality to the American stuff as well. It's just exaggerated to a much more extreme degree, as everything is in America.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Impractical Jokers? That seems very grounded for a show.
I've seen a couple episodes. I thought some of the bits were funny. It's just not really my thing. I don't enjoy content like that in general. I think the closest thing to British reality television I've seen is probably honestly Top Gear, and a lot of that is scripted and improvised. But it's just stuff like that feels very natural, even though you know a lot of it is scripted. It has this very organic. It has a very organic atmosphere to it, which is very fun. I don't follow it. I never followed it intensely, but whenever it was on, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the way Clarkson, Hammond, and May bounce off each other is perfection, and they know their shit about the cars. And Clarkson's just so funny, honestly, in general. You know, like once because he was hosting Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and he was like, "Okay, this is the answer. You just won £64,000. This is the answer. I don't even need to look at it." And he was so confident. Then it was wrong, and he was like, "Oh, the wrong answer. You haven't won." And I was like, "Bloody hell." I'd be fucking fuming, man. That is like the funniest shit ever. That genuinely happened on live telly, and I just couldn't stop laughing. I was like, "What a useless bloke!" And they've got this section in there where it's like, ask the host, and he never knows anything. Like he's like, I don't know. But you hear him on Top Gear, and he knows everything. And it's just, man, he's such an amazing host, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, there's definitely a talent to improvisation like that.
100%. And I was going to say another thing with Top Gear as well. A lot of the stuff on there, when they fail at something, it is an actual fail. Like it doesn't feel like they failed on purpose, but their reactions are obviously totally put on because it's just madness. Some of it, yeah. But it's still funny. It's it's sort of like you can laugh at it but like it's actually entertaining laughter. It's not just like fake reality sort of silliness.
It feels like it's a good blend of improv and scripted. I think it's a very good blend of that.
If you watch the Grand Tour though that they did, because that's their second, because Jeremy Clarkson punched someone who he
has a few issues.
Yeah, they what happened was they're out filming all day, and they brought him a cold sandwich, and he was really angry, and they were all wet. All he wanted was a hot sandwich, so he punched the guy, and then he got sacked. But then they made the Grand Tour, and the Grand Tour's good, but it's very over the top compared to Top Gear. Like
I haven't seen the Grand Tour, but
yeah, it's an Amazon exclusive. And Clarkson's farm is quite funny as well. He keeps he gets these professional farmers in, and he never listens to any of them. And his farm ended up doing well. His farm only made like £5 profit at the end of the year. So that was it, because he never listened to the professionals. So
that sounds about right.
But so I was gonna say because how I found out about you and John was watching the Met Enthusiast podcast, and I absolutely love those podcasts that you did and the one that John did, and I felt like, damn, this Club Brick thing, that's sick what they've got going, to be fair. But on the podcast as well, he mentioned to you about Lego games and the Skywalker Saga. Will you get it goat, or are you not fussed?
I think that I actually have the complete saga from on the PS3. Mm-hmm. The Skywalker Saga looks like it has some interesting elements. Again, I feel like what they did back then was a very perfect capsule of what this TT Games experience is.
Yeah, 100%.
And if I have the opportunity to play the Skywalker Saga, I'll definitely try it out. I'm not sure I would jump on board to play it right away. I don't have a console to play it right away. I do think that works. I think it works better. I'll have to at least get a controller or something. That's a controller experience. I've not really. I'm very content with the complete saga on the PS3 right now, but if I'm sure I'll watch some reviews when it comes out, and maybe it'll blow me away. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I remember you mentioned on the it'd be really cool to stream it on OBS, stream it on Twitch, sorry, with OBS, and like see, because I swear Steam do a lot of good deals. I'm sure they wouldn't do a good deal straight away, but after a year they'd be doing
After a
some
couple
good
years.
deals. Yeah. So maybe you could get it then, because it'd be really cool to see you play it. Because the thing is, a lot of Lego games, as you mentioned on the Met Enthusiast podcast, it's just the formulaic, get all the coins, get True Jedi or whatever the other equivalents are on the other Lego games, and bish bosh bang, there you go. I know there's different gameplay mechanics, but it's sort of like the same thing. As you said, you get the TT games experience in the complete saga. You don't need all these other things, really, unless you're a massive fan and you want to go along for the story.
Right, and I do feel like what they've added since then, it'll be these cool little details, but they don't feel like they're more grafted onto the TT games experience rather than something that's come out organically from that formula, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I was going to mention something with TT games though. Are you a big gamer, or are you not that fussed about gaming? Or
I was much more in the past. Right now, between all my research and all the things I've been trying to do, it comes down mostly to a time thing. I just don't have time to play very many games, but I do play some from every now and again.
okay, fair dues. I was going to say with TT games though, because they're with Traveller's Tales. Basically, they were totally in the shitter before bloody Star Wars the video game came out. I mean, they had Crash Twinsanity, which it's a fun game, but it totally flopped money wise. People were so aggravated at the glitches and the bugs. They were really far in the shitter. And they did other games before. They did Crash Wrath of Cortex, and I'm pretty sure they did other licensed games as well, but they weren't licensed games in the early 2000s. Most of them
Oh
weren't.
yeah, they were everywhere.
Yeah, they weren't really the best. There were some good gems here and there, but it was mostly just for a quick cash grab. But as soon as they made Lego Star Wars, they realised, shit, we have hit gold. Let's just spam out Lego games, because they were so close to going bust in 2004 before the game came out.
I don't think I think there's a little bit more to it than that. I think I definitely think there was a little bit more to it, but the original Lego Star Wars is truly something magical.
Definitely, especially with the way they told the story, like with all the grunts and how funny and comical they made the story, and little things from the films as well, like the grappling gun. If it hadn't have been for that scene in the Phantom Menace where like, get your guns, we probably wouldn't have had that feature where they're shooting up in the air.
Yeah,
and the character.
They do all these little details to be as authentic to it, while still giving you this room to do whatever crazy nonsense that you want.
I was going to say as well, though, you said you were a gamer in the past. What games did you play out of interest?
Let's see. Mostly Lego games. I had a Wii. I had a GameCube growing up. I had and still have a Wii, PlayStation 3 mostly. Played it through a few. Played a few PC games. Bunch of different things I've accumulated on Steam over the years. Nothing massive at all. But yeah, I've played a handful of games, and actually I do have a Switch, so that is, but so that I may play Lego Star Wars on that. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Switch is mad innovative, to be fair. To have a portable console that you can just stick in the telly and pick off controllers and play with your friends, that is just class. And a proper online as well, which I'm pretty sure the DS didn't have a proper online. Did it, or didn't it?
Saying the Switch has an online feature is very generous. I'm not sure I'd go that far.
But you can play Smash with your friends and Mario Kart.
Yes, you could have a dial-up connection to play Smash with other people. I'm not sure if you've ever tried it.
No, I haven't.
It's not good.
It's what I've been. Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Yeah, if you're a big fan of playing Smash Brothers at 1 frame a second, I definitely recommend spending $60 a year for Nintendo's online service.
Oh, it's $60. I thought it was only like 10 quid or 20 quid. Bloody
I don't
hell.
remember, but
If
it's
it's
not
60,
worth the money.
if
I'll
it's
say
60
that.
bucks, that is a rip-off, man. I've seen people playing Smash, and it's looked fine to me. It has looked fine to me. So
It's a very fun game. It's not something where I want to. I did play a lot of it as soon as it came out. Interest has definitely waned, and my favorite character is King Dedede, if that says anything.
I don't know much about Smash. I just watch my mates like play it.
He's the fat penguin. He's the best character. But
Okay.
it's fun to because it's a fun game because I can look at what other people and say, okay, I'm not good, but everyone in my fan group is so much worse, and I could just beat the crap out of them, and it's wonderful.
That's good. Sorry, I turned my camera off.
It's all right.
Something's happened. Oh no! Ah! Sorry. There's a bug in my room. I've had so many wood lice recently, man. This has happened
Oh,
on
that's
so
wonderful.
many streams. Honestly, they all keep crawling on the curtains. Very annoying, but I've caught them all, thankfully. So
Great.
thing is, in America, you guys really have to deal with bugs a bit, don't you? So
Yes, there's a bunch of different bugs. There's actually a pretty big wasp nest right outside my lab that I still trying to get rid of. Fortunately,
oh
I don't
no.
have to go. I don't have to go that way most of the time.
Yeah, you call John in, he can get the wasps to fly in his beard, and then that'll be the end of it.
I'll
Job's a
be
good
sure
one.
to let him know
Yeah,
next time he's in the area.
yeah. But so I'll just check my questions. I'm pretty sure I'm towards the end of the Lego questions. The thing is, with a lot of podcasts with Lego people on, and this happens with a lot of things, right? You know, if a political person goes on someone podcast, they want to talk about politics. If an MMA person goes on a podcast, they want to talk about MMA. They want to talk about boxing. But Professor Ghost, I want to know, what do you like apart from Lego, man? Do you like sports? Do you like going to the cinema? Do you like going to bars? Do you like traveling the world? What do you
Do I
do?
look like I go to bars?
Yeah, not dressed in the professor attire, but you know, with a jacket on and glasses and let the facial hair grow a bit. You probably go to bars loads.
Yeah, you caught me. You caught me good. But honestly, Lego is my primary hobby. It's what I do to spend most of my free time is working on various Lego projects. Hopefully, I'll have more of that to show very soon.
Mm-hmm.
I keep saying that, and each time I come up with this new detail that I need that changes everything, that makes things take twice as long. So yes, Lego is my main hobby. I do enjoy just relaxing, watching television. I'm very invested in various cultural items, like you said, different franchises. My interest has waned in it significantly. Things like the new Star Wars series or whatever garbage Marvel pumps out, or I do try to keep up with various stuff like that because I feel like it's interesting to see what other people are talking about, and I think that things like Star Wars and stuff have this mythological element that's very fun to talk to other people about.
Yeah.
I do play some games. I do have a bunch of books. My favorite book series of all time is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is a 5-part trilogy.
Oh,
I also have all the Bionicle books, of course. I have a full dictionary that I bought for like a quarter. The Harry Potter books, and a bunch of other stuff.
fair dues. That's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, well, that's fair play. You know, you said about garbage Marvel pumped out. As I got your takes on the Star Wars shows, what do you think of Loki, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, What If, and what was the other one? WandaVision.
I loved the first 2 episodes of WandaVision, but I'm not sure if you've watched Lost, but I felt like WandaVision either should have been more serious or more comedy focused because
Mhm.
did has a bunch of internal inconsistencies and inconsistencies with the characters and retcons that are incredibly frustrating. The way how it'll be this serious moment, then they pause and have this wink wink yeah, and that can work, but in ideally in like the best Marvel movies, like the comedy is deployed in such a way that it doesn't detract from the story. Like if you'll look at whatever crap will go on in Guardians of the Galaxy, and you go like, that's stupid, but this character's an idiot, and that makes sense. But if you look look at something like WandaVision, like just the last couple episodes, especially, there'll be these gaps where they'll try to do something funny, or Vision will be talking to the camera and wonder, why am I doing this? How did I get here? And that opens a whole, and it was funny, but it also opens up a huge can of narrative worms, especially since this character can fly. And he's in a car.
What am I doing here?
It's the thing is, man. Here's the problem. When you create this narrative device that allows you to get away with any kind of nonsense, you can say, "Oh, that's okay because it's okay because this is all some sort of psychic projection. That means it makes sense." But the thing is, when you do that, you undermine every other detail of the story, because literally anything can happen. You've destroyed all consequence in the universe, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you.
And I mean, another.
Go on. Sorry, go on.
I think that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier pissed me off the most because I enjoyed the first few minutes, but the way that, like, I was very interested in how they were going to portray the grief of Bucky, the Winter Soldier, and how he's neighbors with that man and he wants to reconcile with him. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And then 5 minutes later, he's being buddy with Sam, and they have this very forced interaction between them, because they're kind of like bros, but they're also like rivals that don't get along. And there's like a total disregard for military protocol. All these characters should have been dead. Pretty much every character in any of these Marvel TV series should have immediately gone to jail for what they've done, because like Bucky immediately breaks in. You can't just say Sam, who's a military contractor, Bucky can't just go up to him and say, "Hey, can I join you on your private confidential government mission?" And Sam can't just go, "Oh yeah, come along, buddy," even though you're being watched by the government. And that issue is spread throughout the story. There's a bunch of other little details where the writers thought they were being clever, and it just felt like they were beating you over the head. And Loki runs into the same problem where there's no continuity or consistency, so they can get away with anything. And sometimes you can get some good jokes and some good laughs, but for the most part, that totally undermines the stakes.
Nah, I'll have to fully objectively. So I agree with I sort of agree with the first two, but Loki, that was class, man. Sorry, Go. That was absolutely.
No. Here's the thing. There's other people who have broken this down much better than I have. But the way that immediately after Loki goes through, immediately after Loki enters this, enters the TVA, he's a different character. And we don't get to see the transformation. We're robbed of the transformation sequence of him turning into a hero. All we get is we get a footage of Loki watching a highlight reel of the MCU, his parts in the MCU, and we're calling that his character development. The thing
No.
is, it's if this was just a show with Tom Hiddleston being this weirdo out of time, if Loki was its own thing, I could forgive most of this series. But it causes significant damage to the. It can cause a significant damage to Loki as a character and some really unfortunate implications for the universe at large. Even if it has some really cool concepts and some great set pieces, it runs into some pretty significant narrative hurdles.
Now, the thing is, Goat, I get what you mean by how he just changes like that. And he just I actually did bring up that in my review. I know you probably haven't seen the review, but I do bring up objective criticisms. But the thing is, right, it's just, I just find it's such a cool concept how he's like, gone to this time agency and he's working for him. And you sort of, at first, you don't know what he's going to do. And then he ditches Owen Wilson to try and follow the other Loki. And the other Loki's a mystery at first, killing the time agents. Then the time people are actually bad and they've actually had their memories wiped before. And then the place where they get zapped to is like this crazy end of the universe where this big dragon's trying to kill people. And then I just like all the absurdity personally. I think it keeps you on your toes.
There's a lot of high concept stuff that they do, and I'm really interested in that stuff. I just don't feel like they did these concepts nearly as well as they could have. And as much as I love a lot of these little individual elements, I don't think it makes a coherent whole that fits into the MCU. If it was its own thing, I think that would be a totally different story.
Well, each to their own, innit? But Scruffy Buttons asks, anyway, what do you think of What If, out of interest?
I actually haven't watched it. I was too bored after the resolution of Loki. I was hoping for some big conflict. It was just underwhelming to me, and I just needed a break, honestly.
Yeah, they are pumping out quite a lot of stuff, so I can get whether, I know you're obviously not a fan, but like whether you like it or dislike it, it can be a bit overwhelming for quite some people because they just keep throwing it and throwing it and throwing it and throwing it constantly, throwing stuff out there. But what is your favorite Lego video game? I mean, I know the answer to this because you said it earlier and on the Main Enthusiast podcast, but yeah. The Scruffy Buttons.
But my favorite Lego game of all time has to be Lego Universe because that kind of shaped my. That was my first exposure to a broader Lego community, and through that, I discovered this. I learned a bunch of new building techniques. I met so many people. I still talk to some today. It's how I met John indirectly so many years later, and that experience of interacting with other people, the atmosphere that game has is very unique, and it blends a bunch of elements of TT games, World of Warcraft, and several other elements. They mesh into this game. The game is honestly kind of a mess, but it had a very informative impact on me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember. I honestly thought. I'm glad you said Lego Universe because I thought you was going to say the complete saga. But that's cool that you like Lego Universe the best. It's not my favorite, but it's good to have some, good variety. I remember playing it in late 2010, and it was really fun. But I was like, I don't know what I'm doing because I was only 10 at the time, so I had no idea what I was doing. Yeah. But it was decent fun for what it was,
Yeah, it was definitely geared towards a slightly older audience, and by the time you reach that age, a lot of people will gravitate towards World of Warcraft anyway. So,
I remember. Oh, go on.
Yeah, I felt like in many ways, Lego Universe was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
But... How come it ended? Didn't it end in 2012?
Yes, it did. What I'm not. One of the main reasons for the cost was actually moderation cost, because there were these models that people could create themselves. But there were some very phallic images you could create, and so moderators had to scan every single Lego property every time it was updated to make sure nothing phallic appeared.
Okay.
if that makes
Was it
sense.
like were they making really disturbing things then?
Some people were, but keep in mind, you have to check every single one. There's thousands of properties being updated every single day. That has to be checked by an individual top down for several minutes. And that is an expensive process. You got to check the whitelists. If something gets reported, you have to respond immediately, because if one child has a very negative experience, that undermines everything that Lego's worked for. And it's
So
there's a
that was
lot
the
of
reason, because it was like so much effort and cost trying to get this done and trying to get people to look at the property so often.
there were a bunch of other issues relating to it. It just wasn't as popular as it could have been. There were several issues behind the scenes just with its development expenses that just didn't match up. It just wasn't a profitable model.
Yeah, but I'm guessing it was fun while it lasted.
It was absolutely fun. Again, I had some of the most I had a couple of the most popular properties for a time. Like one of my properties was the number one for a while. They have all these different areas where you could build one. My model stayed at the top for pretty much a year, if not longer.
That's really good.
Yeah, and I'm ashamed of that model. I'm ashamed of it because it looked absolutely awful. It was a terrible model.
Are you sure that's not just modesty? Are you sure
No,
not
no. It was absolute garbage, because when I was first started building, I didn't understand what polygons were. So I used the coolest pieces, and it lagged out the entire place.
Okay, I see. Well, it is what it is. You live and you learn.
Something like that.
Wasn't John like really famous on there or something?
Reasonably so. He had one of the more popular properties early on. I haven't. I know I've seen his property. I don't have a vivid image or nostalgia for it.
Okay, but a lot of people are raving about him on there.
Yeah, a lot of. I do feel like a lot of it has just been lost to time, but there were a lot of very well-made properties out there.
That's good. Scruffy Button says, "Remember Lego Island?"
Yes, Lego Island, I feel is. While I'll say that Lego Universe is my favorite, I feel like Lego Island may be the best Lego game for encapsulating the Lego ideals. There's a podcast on Bits and Bricks that breaks down how Lego Island was developed, and it's they actually studied the way kids play and the way we think. So they created a character who was very interested in they had characters with different approaches to problem solving. So there's a character who's really good with math. There's a character who's really good at talking and interacting to people. There's all these different elements that they fuse together to give this world life. And they give you a lot of control of, you can change the color of the sky to be a really creepy color. You can change the flowers to trees to garbage cans, I think. You can make people, every single citizen in the town, wear a pizza on their heads.
That is very interesting.
There was a huge amount of open world nonsense that they used in Lego Island, which was very novel for the time. And I don't think that any other Lego game have totally recreated that. Recreated that atmosphere. It was a very experimental game.
Yeah, I guess in the 1997, they probably just thought we might as well go a bit daft with this one. Might as well have a bit of a laugh with this. There ain't loads and loads and loads and loads of games about like there are now. Like nowadays, someone can just set up a program and make a little game. Like one person can make a game if they really want it. It's going to probably be a bag of arse compared to AAA games, but you know what I'm saying? Well, back then it was ridiculously hard to make a game. So fair play that they really try to go out the box with that one.
Yeah, and very, very much with a lot of Lego projects, if you look behind the scenes, the staff is actually encouraged to be childish as possible, to embrace that childish mindset. So they'll
Right.
throw whatever crazy stuff is at the wall. Most of it will be thrown out because it's unrealistic, but they'll just go crazy with all these concepts. Not all of them can work, but that is a very fun part of the creative process when you learn about it.
Yeah. You know something that's really cool? I only just thought of this just now. Now, what's really interesting, you and John, and to be fair, quite a bit of Club Brick. You're very, very mature people, but usually if like say if some random person in the street, like if I say if you and John were standing somewhere and I said to someone, those two dudes collect Lego, people might be a bit like, damn, that's immature. But you're honestly some of like the most grown-up, mature people ever. I'm not saying every Lego fan's like that. I'm a total lunatic, and George, I don't collect a lot of Lego, but I collect a bit. I'm a total loon, and George is an absolute mad lad, and he collects loads of Lego. But it's nice that you and John, you know, you're just very grown-up guys.
We pretend to be mature long enough to fool the audience.
Oh, okay. So are you actually a bit daft behind? Actually, find the treasure! Oh, look at that! Follow me! Oh, find them!
I don't know what you're referring to.
Oh, should we get those clips? Actually, no. Let's leave that.
How about you
No,
don't?
Let's leave that. Yeah, that should remain in the past, shouldn't it? So
Agreed. Until King John brings it up for the next Goat Awards.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that in the next Goat.
I don't think we've decided when the date will be for the next one, but we're definitely doing it.
Yeah, I'm really gutted I couldn't make it to that one, to be fair. The issue was, I didn't want to mention this at the time, but there was a UFC event that was on during my time, and I thought, mate, there's so many English fighters, I've got to watch this. And I watched it with my friends on a Discord call, and it was absolutely hilarious. I did try and tune into the Goatee Awards like before fights happened, but hopefully I can come on this one, the next one, so that'll be absolutely kick-ass. So
we'll see.
Fingers crossed. Because it was hopefully as well, like people like Bum Bum can come on, because he's obviously a bit of a brick filmer, and maybe someone in the server who's a massive brick film fan. That'd be pretty cool. Hopefully they can.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. I mean, final question: favorite and least favorite Lego theme.
Let's see. I think my most recent Ask the Professor video outlines pretty clearly what my least favorite Lego theme is.
Yeah.
Galador is considered to be the worst for a very good reason. Snap is basically Lego knockoff Connects, and it is really bad too. I'd say those are about tied, actually. In many ways, Galador is worse. In many ways, Snap is worse because it has this very plagiaristic tone to it, which isn't fun. But yeah, those are the least favorite. But the most favorite, that's very tricky because if we're counting
Star Wars.
I definitely put like the early era of Star Wars. It means a very large amount to me, and there's some great Star Wars sets out there. The new Star Wars sets. Sorry,
I was going to say it's like Star Wars 2002 to like 2010 maybe. I don't know if the 1999 and 2001s would be up your street because they're a bit
they're a bit blocky. I do have a lot of them, but they're a little bit too blocky for me. Yeah. I feel like the explosion in quality happened around 2002. But yeah, even today, I still look at the Star Wars sets and think, man, that's cool. That is such a cool X-Wing. That is such a cool Republic gunship. So yeah, that I think that Star Wars would have been my favorite in the past, but where I am right now, Lego Space in general is very high up there. I do have a soft spot for Pirates. It's not one of my favorites. I am a pretty big fan of Bionicle. I have I have all the books, and I quite like the scale of the world that they build. I do like Ninjago a good bit, although it's kind of a love-hate relationship. There's a lot of things about Ninjago that is really amazing and really fun and unique, and there's a lot of bad stuff to it. So
Mhm.
I'm probably gonna. I could do a whole video just breaking down each episode of Ninjago because I have some pretty strong opinions about that. But
Yeah.
um, overall, I'm not sure I could pick. I just like the parts.
Fair enough. That's fair. So can't wait for the Skywalker saga to come out.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it'll be very fun.
Same here, man. So we can nicely wrap up there unless there's anything else you want to talk about, Goat.
I think that's it for now. I'll definitely look forward to talking to you again or whatever works out.
Yeah. If I come up with a load like more questions or if there's anything you want to discuss on here again, yeah, like it'd be cool to do it again one of the days. So yeah, but thank you for this one. It was absolutely kick-ass getting the spicy takes, as I always say. So thank you, man. Awesome.
Absolutely. It was wonderful to be here.
Well, we'll end it there then, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Check out Club Brick. Check out Goat's playlist. It's absolutely legendary. The analyses and all that jazz. It really is fun and amazing, entertaining watch. As I said, I'm not just saying that. I'm being 100% serious. And the other Club Brick content's a decent amount of fun too. But yeah, and the live streams. It's all good, you know. So yeah, as I say, like and subscribe, check out Club Brick, and have a good one. Laters.
Until next time, play well.